Nothing to avoid.
Okay, how's the quality of your headphones?
Sounds very good. I would turn it down maybe. What number is it on?
You decide. Look,
Where's
look
the
behind the little notes that you have there.
Oh, okay.
Look for red and count to 10 while you're moving it.
We're okay.
You got it the way you like it?
Is this the recording level too?
No, it's just a headset level.
Okay, so we're not worried. I can adjust that. Doesn't matter.
Correct. And it never fails that the last person before you had different hearing.
Right.
Usually what people say is, I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Well, turn it up.
Right.
Oh, yeah, now I do.
Right.
And then other people, wow, turn this thing down.
Right, right, right.
Good, better hearing.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Sounds good. Hello, Richard. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Are we on the air now? Beautiful.
Okay, you should be able to hear me, and I should be able to hear you now.
I hear you very well.
Good.
Yeah.
So, is this like the third one of these we've done?
You know, we've done several. I think we probably have done 2 I Thou video series, but we've done other. I think we did some shows, not necessarily tied directly to I Thou. So I think we have I don't know, maybe 5 conversations there, approximately 5 conversations.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So we have a history.
We do. Yeah. You know, I often try to reflect back the profound impact that you've had on my trajectory, my life, personally and professionally. You are a extremely generous mentor who asks for no return. You know, you ask for no return.
There's a thing called a gate,
Yeah.
and the other engineer here, he always messes with the gate.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Okay.
I'm going to adjust your gate.
Sure.
I hate it when he does that, but he does it. Now.
What is the gate?
The gate is in all microphones, there is something called room noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so what?
I understand.
And
already.
it's the silence between your words.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a fanatic who is a engineer, you raise the gate to shut out the room noise so that it's 100% quiet until somebody speaks and then you can hear them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unnatural because we're used to hearing room noise.
Right.
And
right.
I'm more into the naturalness of things.
Yeah.
The other engineer here is into the, how would you put it, hyperreal.
controlled,
The
the
hyperreal.
controlled reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great. Those are great metaphors or reflections of the deeper paradigm of your your existential ways of moving through the world. Are you talking about Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that that is some deep reflection of his existential relationship to,
I bet it is.
yeah, and yours too,
Mm-hmm.
and yours too. Yeah.
Well, that would mean that our ideology affects so many things on the way we see the world. Or, to put it more simply, the world is shaped by your ideas of the world. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's actually, I mean, is it the cart or the horse, right? I mean, this is very fascinating. What you just offered, which is shaped by which? Do my ideas shape the world, or the ideas of the world shape me?
Well,
Is that the correct understanding?
I agree with you that it's a yin yang kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when the Native Americans were living here, and the first European ships came over,
Yeah.
if you were on the beach with one of them, and you said, "What is that on the horizon?" they would say, "That's nothing. Ignore it." Because the idea that a ship would be coming was not part of their ideology. However, as time went on, it changed. Like, oh, that's trouble.
Right.
See?
Very much, yeah. So I actually, before while you were fine tuning the technology,
Yeah.
a question arose in me that I wanted to start with.
Mm-hmm.
May I ask you this question?
Yeah. I like questions.
All right. So I just want to ask this question, Richard.
Okay.
I'm going to ask the question as it should be asked, and then I have to provide context to it, because it may not open in the ways that it should with just this question. So here's the question. What is?
Question mark? Like, what is?
Yeah.
That's the two
And
words?
so the explanation is, what is existentially?
There should be one word after that.
I don't think so. You want to
Well,
define subject or object, but
No,
I'm
but
not.
the word ly, existentially, means it's like describing another word.
It's describing the is.
Oh.
What is existentially?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is existentially?
Well, that ties into what we just said about your thoughts affecting the world and the world affecting your thoughts. So that's always changing. Pantarrhea, Pantarrhea. Everything changes.
Is that Latin?
Yes. No, Greek.
It's Greek?
Greek, yeah.
Pantarrhea, it is Greek.
Yeah.
It sounds Latin.
Might be Latin from a certain perspective, but Greek and Latin are kind of interrelated.
The roots are
It's from
shared,
Heraclitus.
yeah. Okay. No, but I've been grappling with this, I think, in different iterations my whole life of isness.
So give an example where it would pop up.
Who am I?
Identity.
Or relationship to identity, I would say.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
I just read today that you can understand free will by understanding identity.
Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. For example, our friend Vanessa, one of her main philosophical inquiries is defining herself. So, in her definition of herself, I am this, but I'm not that. You see? So, once your identity starts to separate you from everything around you, you're kind of cutting that off from you.
That's true. You know, when we began this conversation, I was sharing you had to go fix the gate or some aspect of the.
Right.
But I was saying what a profound mentor, not profound, not correct, deeply generous and unconditional mentor you have been toward me, and that you ask for no return. I've never heard you ask for any return on all your offerings and the many ways that you offer home and shelter, emotional support and understanding, validation for many of your what I call sangha here at Home of the Future, and I've been beneficiary of that. Like I think I've benefited from that in some measure, and one of the most profound, tangible, professional ways that you've impacted me is through unraveling religion, which Gary Serbanowitz had a birthday, I think a 40th birthday party, and you were there with a microphone, a recording device, taking the histories for posterity and sentiment. How do you know Gary, right? And I gave a little spiel, and then I gave some. It was probably 45 seconds or a minute, maybe a little more. And at the end of that, you said, "Would you ever like to do a radio show?" And I was like, "Oh, hell no." No, I don't. What are you even talking about? Radio show, you know?
Yeah.
But that question lodged in me for about 6 to 8 months. And during the course of those considerations, where does this come from, right? One day, I don't know where it came from, unraveling religion. I hadn't even decided to do the show. I hadn't even really thought about it. I think I was thinking like, oh, if I did it, I would call it unraveling religion. And I don't even know why. And this all ties in actually to Vanessa and identity. But in 2007, I had Major Reagan on as the first guest. And I just reissued that talk with edits in an introduction maybe 2 years ago. It's a fascinating talk. But the tagline or slogan of Unraveling Religion comes from Mage, and Major offered this to me as a kind of teaching or consideration, which is what you are is more than what you want.
Yeah, I have trouble understanding what that means.
Let me say it again. Really, you have to sit with it.
Okay.
What you are is more than what you want.
Yeah.
But he's talking about the deepest elements of, I guess, just a kind of consciousness. Our consciousness is greater than the things we desire. Is what another way of translating that. The consciousness we are is greater than what we desire.
Now it makes more sense that you explained it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So in other words, we could say that Vanessa is more than how Vanessa defines herself.
Yes, this is what exactly was arising in my mind when you were describing Vanessa's different ways of seeking identity.
Yeah.
But they do not realize that, or maybe they do, but it sounds to me like they don't realize that. And so the question then becomes, how do we get people to recognize that what they are is greater than what they want?
That's a tough one.
It is.
I mean, is it possible to get somebody to recognize something?
Boy, I don't know. I guess we start here. How do we recognize things, and does something have to be true in order to recognize it?
No, because there's so many things that are not true that are recognized.
Do they last? Do the untrue things last?
No.
They don't. But
Well,
the true
does anything last?
the true things last. True things last.
If you could tell me something true that lasts, that would support your claim. See, I don't think there are true things in that sense.
Well, what time frames are we looking at as far as supported the validity of sustained relation to something?
So you're talking about in terms of a person's lifetime, something being true?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know that I have any preconceived notion of what that time frame looks like. I'm kind of trying to figure out what it is for us in this conversation.
Oh, well, considering that the Ponte Re, everything changes,
Hmm?
that includes our ideas on how the world works.
Here's the issue that I have with the what is it called? Pontifre?
RHEA, Ponte Re.
Pontere.
Yeah.
Okay. My issue with the Pontere and the argument that everything changes is that, and we don't even see this as a metaphor for all things in human existence, is that you don't even recognize that that argument that everything changes is consistent because there's an element that provides consistency for that question to be asked.
Hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking about how logic is the basis
No.
that can't be questioned.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if everything changes, if the basis of everything is change,
Does it include that statement?
what is the backdrop that holds that? There's a backdrop that if everything changes, that question would change too.
Correct.
But
Right.
there's a backdrop, a sustained backdrop that allows that question to arise. It's like one of the most brilliant things that I've ever heard Eckhart Tolle say, the author of The Power of Now and A New Earth, and a brilliant investigatory consciousness or soul. He said he came to his great awakening and grappling with a massive depression, and he'd really contemplated suicide, and the question in a deep grappling in one of the worst nights of his life, he could not stand it any longer. Literally, he said this to himself: I cannot stand this any longer. And then this insight arose into him. He said, are there two of me? What is the I that cannot stand what I am?
Hmm.
And then he thought, if there are two of me, maybe only one is real.
Mm.
And then he fell asleep with that kind of resolution of a koan, and woke up the next morning. Everything was bathed in a delicious light, he said. Everything was fresh and new, like the Buddha had saw the morning star, fresh and new, as if it appeared for the very first time. But that's the same issue that I'm talking about here, that everything changes, but that's true, and yet there's a backdrop that holds that question. Are there two of us inside of what we are, or is there an identity and a real self? I think that there's an identity and a real self, and they can interplay in healthy ways. But I would really say that only comes through the fruition of a great amount of work to understand one's relationship with one's identity.
Well, I like your idea that there is an identity and a real self.
Yeah,
Got to write that down. It's so good.
sure. I mean, that's not mine. That's replete throughout all of the world's explorers of the minds and hearts. Everyone talks about that.
Well, I know Kierkegaard does.
Yeah, what does Kierkegaard say about it?
He says you have three selves.
Yeah.
You have your I used to know this by heart.
Do you want to look it up on your computer?
Yeah. Let's see. But one of them is true self.
Right.
So true self. There it is. Well, I haven't looked at these. Are called my sleep notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kierkegaard said you have a a self that you deal with when you interact in the world. So, for example, a lot of people, their job is that type of self. And then you have an imaginary self, which is the self that you aspire to be.
He calls it imaginary?
Yeah, because it's in your imagination.
No, I know. Yeah, it's interesting. Is it that a translation of something?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I wonder if
think he
that's a
wrote
good-
in. He wrote in. No, I know he wrote in. Is he German or
Yeah.
wherever he was from?
Excuse me.
So there's the practical self, the imaginary self, and then he said the third one is the true self. And he said the true self is the one you don't know, but you discover.
That's beautiful.
Does that sound like something you would say?
Well, I don't know. I think it's been said in different, the Zen master Dogen Zenji says there are many languages but one tongue. So we're all using different language for one shared one shared wellspring. All human beings dip into one shared wellspring. It's one, not two. One. So yeah, just like that question, what is?
Oh yeah. So anyway, the second thing that you inspired me with what you were talking about is the question of first principles. So, for example, oh wait, we got somebody on the line with us here. Oh my God, I have no idea what that is. What the hell? Sounds like a robot.
Yeah, Streamboo.
So anyway, it has to do with the question of first principles. So for a lot of people, the first principle is that it's something you don't question. They have it in mathematics where there's certain things you don't question. They're called axioms. And in logic, there's the same kind of thing. You just don't question it. That something...
It's de facto. It doesn't need to be proven. It's a fact.
Well, in order to move forward, you have to assume it. So if you, for example, say that the laws of logic, that's why I brought up logic, are subject to question, what can you possibly say about that? Because when you question something, you question it using the laws of logic.
Right. That's absolutely true. It's kind of, it's a conundrum. It's a koan.
So you are questioning what are the first principles, and you're just substituting one with another.
Yeah.
But you're still declaring a first principle, which you called the backdrop. See?
Yeah. I honor where you're coming from, but I will respectfully disagree with the presupposition where you're coming from is not the full understanding of the spirit of what I'm trying to express.
It's like the argument, God is love, love exists, therefore God exists. We haven't really proved anything. You haven't proved anything because what you've done is substituted one word with another word.
Right. I mean, that's probably some sort of logical fallacy. Is it a logical fallacy, that argument? I'm sure it is.
Well, A equals B, B equals C. Yeah, no, it's logical, but it doesn't.
But aren't there those philosophical fallacies?
No, you can have a valid argument, which doesn't conform to the world.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're getting into a pretty vast terrain. Why do we have discussion? Why do we have arguments? Is it for one another? Is it to go beyond community into what is true, like truth in human existence? These are good questions. Freimer said, "Better a good question than a bad answer." A Jewish theologian. So yeah, I mean, Unraveling Religion was born in 2007 with Mae Dragan. It's in we're going on 2026, so we're talking 20 years
Nice.
of Unraveling Religion. And you launched it. You helped me launch it from Think Twice Radio, which it still has a page on
Yeah.
that hasn't been really kept up. But the shows at the time of launch are still there.
Hmm.
And but I took it onto the major podcasting platforms,
Hmm.
and you taught me how to edit with software, and I do all that myself.
Hmm.
And so it's just a source of great meaning for me because I feel like I'm in my existential exploration. How do we sharpen one another? This is how we sharpen one another.
Hmm. I agree.
Richard asked me, and I asked Richard, and we sharpen one another in this way. So,
As a
he's-
Hegelian, I would put it differently.
how would you put it?
The conflict of ideas is a reliable path to truth.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that I fully agree with. The subsections of definition in there we've disagreed with on previous conversations that we've had, but the overall arching riding spirit of that is true. That's great. It's also halachically, not halachically, but Havruta in Judaism and Jewish traditions. Havruta is the ways in which two students study Torah. They sharpen one another by going back and forth. But you're embodying the text with your understanding, which brings it alive and changes or alters your understanding. And then when you butt up against your partner's perspective or paradigm, oh yeah, no, yeah, oh, I didn't, and so there's something wonderful about that, Havruta.
Are you familiar with Thomas Aquinas?
A little bit.
So when he lived in the 1200s, he was the most sought after teacher in the world
Yeah.
at the time. And so cities would make huge donations to the Dominican order with a string attached. We'd like you to assign Thomas Aquinas to come and teach at our university. So he taught at Paris, and then he taught at Florence, he taught at Rome, wherever the order sent him. He probably didn't see a penny of that, but he had a lot of power.
Hopefully you didn't care.
He had a lot of power.
Yeah.
And so he could do things nobody else could do.
Yeah.
And one of the things he would do is say, okay, class, for the next class, we're going to be discussing, say, the God's immortality. Now, this side of the class, you're going to come in tomorrow and you're going to tell me why it's possible. And this side is going to tell me why it's not possible. Namely, God does not have the power to commit suicide, for example. So he always believed in that, both points of view.
Sure.
Ideas clashing with ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why I'm not surprised at the last thing he wrote before he died.
What was what?
Everything, well, he wrote a lot. He wrote the equivalent of 2 Bibles. And the last thing he wrote was, I just made a realization today that everything up to this point that I have written is like straw.
Oh, yeah.
Put his pen down, never wrote again for the next 4 years, and then he died.
We talked about this. I think we've talked about this previously. This because you can recognize through certain kind of like awakening experiences that recognition that relationally words versus expanse. I guess words versus
Expanse.
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 Expanse, like expansive, expanse. Just expanse is a noun.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're teaching me something here.
sorry.
EXPANSE.
Yeah, expanse is a noun. Like awakening, consciousness and awakening, you can be just an expanse.
Huh.
Another way to look at that is not just expanse, but I teach meditation in prison. The Zen Dharma community through the Rochester Zen Center. I teach meditation to prisoners at Attica, or I did. The program's been on hold for over a year. But one of the things that when I teach there is that I try to help them understand why we want to meditate. And so, in the deepest heart way, I try to share you don't observe, you're not observing. Observing as a noun. You are, as a noun, observing. That's what you are. Just the word, observing. You are observing. Really getting people into this framework to shake the filter of the identity in the mind and the construct of the mind. Observe it. Observing now. That's all.
Okay, I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Well, that would mean that you see identity as a verb, not as a noun.
Well, I think it's a construct, it's both. I think it's both.
Because I see it as a verb.
Excuse me. You see it as a verb.
I do.
Why?
Because it locates it in time. You know, the most famous book of the 1920s was Being in Time
Yeah.
by Martin Heidegger.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He said, you can't talk about existence without talking about time, past, present, and future.
I don't know that that's true. I don't know. I can see that that's partially true. I don't think that's a complete set.
Well, I
think
mean,
you can talk
I just summarized the book this thick into one sentence.
No, I know. But what I mean, this is the point of the, when we go back, I always go back to this because this is my karma. But, the Zen practice is not solely bound in time. I mean, that's the whole point of the genuine expression of a Zen practitioner can transcend time.
Well, we think differently on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to, this is just my paradigm. And of course, like I defer to, you have your own,
Well, I can't think of anything that exists outside of time.
So an example of an expression that exists outside of time is, there was a great Chan master, Jashu. Jashu is probably the greatest Chan master of the time of Chan in China, from the time of Bodhidharma's bringing Chan from India to China. The Shaolin was enhanced by Bodhidharma's arrival, where he developed and taught Qigong to the farmers, the martial arts of Shaolin, also influenced by Bodhidharma. But primarily, Bodhidharma was known as the blue-eyed wall gazer. He was a very large man, and he was in a cave. He just meditated for years and years and years on end in a cave. And what he was really trying to do is return Buddhism to the true spirit of what the Buddha taught, which was just meditation. So meditation, or dhyana in Sanskrit, when Bodhidharma came from India to China, dhyana, the word meditation, became Chan, CH''AN, Chan. What does it mean in Chinese? Meditation. So it's the mind-only school. Buddhism, Zen Buddhism or Chan Buddhism is the mind-only school. But from the time of Bodhidharma throughout until, and obviously Chan remains in China, but Dogen took Chan from China to Japan and it became Zen. In that whole time, Jashu was probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest master. He studied until the ripe old age of 80. He was affirmed and approved and validated to teach so many times within that 80 years, and refused to teach until he himself felt he was ready to teach, and that was not till he was 80 years old. And then, how long did he teach for at 80? He lived to be 120. He taught for 40 years. But one of his koans, a koan developed in China. It is a Chan. It was born in China, in the Chan teachings of Buddhism. And someone asked, out of deep, deep, deep questioning, does a dog have Buddha nature? And we're very familiar with this. This is the most widely used koan in America. The answer he gave, which is just moo. So that answer, the response, moo, his uttering of it may have been in part in time, but he pierced something that was timeless. So Heidegger's example that everything that we say is related to space and time is not fully a complete set, because I think Joshu's response to does a dog have Buddha nature, along with many other koans, I'm using this as an example, is not totally bound in time. And that's why it continues on.
What would you think of somebody who had Mu put on their tombstone?
Can you frame contextually the question? I'm not sure what's being asked.
I know of somebody who had in their will that on their gravestone, that's all they wanted was that word, Mu.
Do you know what moo means?
According to the way it's been explained to me, it means nothingness.
You could say it that way. It's hard. It's sort of like when we were trying to translate earlier on, like we were trying to translate something, and I was like, I had to like reframe it in a way that was more understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really the spirit of Mu is negation. It's removing all things that are.
Mm-hmm.
In a shout, nothing, but it's chase it all away. Chase it all away.
Mm-hmm.
All that is,
Mm-hmm.
chase it all away. What is then?
Mm-hmm.
If you chase everything away that is, what is? That's what Mu is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even, I'm doing a disservice by even uttering these things, because you put this stuff in language and you're trying to capture something that just shouldn't be done. It just shouldn't be done. But yeah, I'm doing it. So. Yeah. What else, Richard Wicka?
I'm following the thread that you're unraveling.
So I'm trying to think, like, what other ways have I deeply benefited from your mentorship? I'm often, I have no money, and like I kind of live in ways that are very well trodden for people who are interested in the things I'm interested in, which is not necessarily money making, but it is much more a deep exploration of my existence and how can I relationally serve that relationship with my community, nature, the world, and other people and community. How can I best serve that? Mm-hmm. So it's not always that I am seeking to. I'm not really thinking about where my paycheck's coming from. I'm really trying to investigate how might I best serve here. And so you've been very generous. Like, you'll loan me $20, mm-hmm. And that's a big deal to me. And it may take me longer than I should to pay it back because I just don't have it. There's never any element of shaming or, you gently remind me and you hold me accountable, mm-hmm. and then you let it go. Mm. These things are not to be taken lightly, the way you handle that stuff. I mean, that's a skill. That's a boundary and a skill and a generosity, which is important,
Well, this came up in a conversation with somebody just 2 days ago.
What's that?
Inserting economics into friendship.
Yeah.
So remember I was telling you about Tony the truck driver?
Yeah.
One of the things that bothered him is when he and Vanessa would go to a restaurant, mm-hmm. they order their food, and the check would come. And if he would say, what do you say, we split it, I'll pay for mine, you pay for yours, she would start bemoaning the fact that nobody cares about her and that people are only interested in money, and that she doesn't have any money, and et cetera, et cetera. And and so he would wind up picking up the check. But then when they would get in the car and they'd be driving away from the restaurant, she'd say, "Oh, look at that store. Can we stop there? I want to buy some jewelry." So that bothered him.
Sure.
Now, I mentioned that, well, the solution to that is you bring it up right away. You don't let it stew inside you. You bring it up. And I thought of when I was 13 years old, my father said to me, he said, "Well, I managed to get your uncle, who would be his brother-in-law, a job at the factory where my father works. Not only did I get him a job, I pick him up right at his house every day, take him with me to work." Okay. I said, "Oh, do you know this Sheila Green?"
I do not.
Okay. "Hello, Sheila." So he would take him to the factory where he works. He said, "You know what bugs me about your Uncle Ted?" I said, "What?" He said, "Never once did he ever say, 'Here's some money for your gas,' or I'd like to do something for you because you take me in every day."
Right.
I think he gave him a ride home too.
Yeah.
He said, "So let me tell you something about life." He said, "Whenever somebody gives you a ride more than once, find out what it is that they like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they like candy? Do they like Kit Kat? Whatever they like.
Right.
And then every time that they give you a ride, have one to give to them."
That's a very thoughtful thing to do. Yeah.
He said, watch how it's going to change the way they relate to you.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." So then when I was in school, somebody offered me, they said, "I go home and I have a car and yours is on the way. Would you like me to drop you off?" I said, "That would be great." Then after the second time they did that, I found out what it was that he liked, and I brought it to him.
Mm.
And I saw how his spirits,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I did that every time I got a ride. And then he would actually look for me when I was leaving school,
Mm.
like he was waiting so he could give me the ride.
Yeah. 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 That's so interesting.
So I'm a believer that there is this economic foundation underneath everything,
Mhm.
and we have to acknowledge that.
Yeah. It's interesting. You've described it. We've had this argument so many times over the years that economics is the basis of consciousness. This
Yes.
is your understanding.
Right.
The way you just described it is transferred or translated to me in a way I understand, and I can translate back to my understanding of that essential principle,
Mm-hmm.
which is that is economics the basis of consciousness? I would not put it that way, but I would say that if you look at economics as energy, so when we talk about energy or currency is a kind of energy. What is currency? Currency is a fascinating word.
Mm-hmm.
Currency is time. It is current.
Mm-hmm.
Currency is electricity or energy, a current.
Mm-hmm.
Money is also currency.
Yeah, symbolic, yeah.
All forms of energy.
Mm-hmm.
They're all forms of energy. So if you translate economics to energy or currency,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is the basis of the reciprocity of energies. Or if I honor you with a good energies,
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe I give you $100,
Mm-hmm.
ask nothing for it. That makes you feel good. Maybe I offer you a blessing of energy. That
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel good. Or maybe I just witness you. That makes you feel good. These are all ways in which we can bless or honor one another. There's something in many people that when you honor them, they want to reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
This is the basis of healthy community, of healthy human existence, that reciprocity is the basis of healthy human existence.
That's exactly why I don't have a car.
Tell me about that.
it dawned on me after years and years and years of people saying, gee, you've done so many things for me. What can I do for you? And I would say, I can't think of anything, but I'll let you know.
I just did that today. I was like, Richard, what can I bring over for you today? I know you don't have a car.
And then when my lease ran out one year, I said, what would it be like to not have a car? And then whenever anybody would say to me, can I do, yeah, you could take me to the supermarket, you take me to the doctor. I said, I'm going to give it a try. And the person at the dealership said, it'll never work out. I'll see you back. I'll see you back here in a month. Mm-hmm. Well, that was 5 years ago.
Right. Right.
And it's
no car insurance, no gas, no car payment.
And then I developed this bond with people because the circle became complete.
Sure.
I did something for them. They did something for me.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. That reciprocity is the basis of healthy human existence.
Yeah.
I really feel that very deeply. Yeah. Now there are people who don't recognize that, like, and so I'm really grappling in my existential explorations. How can I support people who don't recognize the value, benefit, and necessity of reciprocity? They just take. People who just take.
Right.
So I'm really trying to work on that.
I think it's a good idea to call to their attention.
Some people do not care.
I know.
Some people don't care.
I know.
Yeah, and it goes that's like a good or a modern example that goes way worse than that in human beings, like in consciousness. Like, I mean, it can get really bad. Some of the paradigms and phenomenology of human beings is not good. It's very
well.
Very,
I think it has to do with maybe the trauma they've experienced in their life.
It could be. It could be something deeper than that, though. I think that that's true. That there are elements of trauma that impair people from recognizing the need for reciprocity. That's true.
Well, you know about Abraham Lincoln's wife?
No.
Mary Todd Lincoln. She had this kind of breakdown after her baby died.
Yeah.
And so the president was always cutting her slack. So when she would say to a Secret Service man, take me to town, I want to buy a pair of gloves, and she would buy like 20. And then Lincoln would say, look, she's going through all this stuff. Well, she had these other quirks that developed in her, like at one point Lincoln he invited General Grant and his wife to come over for a meal. And Lincoln said, look, and then after we eat, we can discuss how the war's going, the Civil War. Grant said, great. So he brought him over. They ate the meal. Lincoln said to Grant, let's go in the other room, discuss what we were going to discuss. Everybody else is in this room. Julie Grant gets up, goes over, sits down next to Mary Todd Lincoln, and she goes, how dare you sit next to the First Lady without asking my permission first? So it didn't sit too well with Julia Grant. So she told her husband, I'm never going back to that house again. I don't want to be in that woman's presence. Mm-hmm. I don't care what she went through. I just can't stand to be treated that way.
Sure.
So when the war ended, and then Lincoln said to Grant, hey, let's get together. I'm going to this play tonight. Would you like to sit in a box with me? Julie said, you go alone, because I'm not going with you.
Interesting.
And Grant said, well, if you're not going, I'm not going. I'll make an excuse why we can't make it.
Right.
But there are people who've had like some kind of, maybe they've been cheated a lot in their life. And
sure.
So now they feel, I'm due this.
Interesting perspective. I'm due. This whole notion of deserve, I don't like this notion of deserve. I deserve. Oh, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that.
Oh, Sheila, if you have any questions for us, put them in the comments and we'll try to answer them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like the notion of propriety. I don't like that, the notion of propriety. I don't like that.
Yeah, what's an example of that?
I own this phone. This phone's mine. Don't touch my phone.
Yeah.
Posted land.
It becomes an extension of their identity.
Well, posted land, I'm going to shoot you if you walk over on this blade of grass.
Carl Sandburg's poem.
Yeah. But tell me about Carl
It's a short little poem. It goes like this. Hey there, get off my land. Oh yeah? Who says it's your land? It's my land. My daddy gave it to me. Yeah? How'd your daddy get it? He got it from his daddy. Where'd he get it from? His daddy fought for it. Oh, well then I'll fight you for it.
Right.
was the early Carl Sandburg.
Yeah. I wouldn't go so militant on land ownership, but I would ask myself the notion of propriety and sharing and welcoming. You know, if you're under threat, if your being is under threat, that's one issue. But when you seek to harm others because you think they're threatening something you own, that you're getting into a nebulous territory there where it's very problematic, because then that's carried way too far, too often, especially in this culture and community that is so commoditized, so materialistic, where we think we are the things we own. And even the advertising is like, so, you know, I constantly see love and products deeply manipulatively in advertising bound together, like love and Subaru. Well, if you get a Subaru, then you're loved. Like there's this element of like, and so people who are lonely, there are many lonely people in our culture and community because we're divested of a lot of the spiritual meaning of existence. We don't have frameworks to nurture and grow that. So there's a lot of existential loneliness and individual, like, psychological loneliness in people. And so these products and the advertisings share like, if you want to feel loved, buy this item, and it just exacerbates the loneliness. You know,
the diamond people really get into that. You know,
yeah.
if he gives you a diamond, it means he loves you.
Yeah. It's much better to receive like a genuine, affectionate hug, rather than a diamond. Is much more valuable than a diamond. A hug, a true hug, is much more valuable than any diamond. You know? I feel if it's from the heart and genuine and fully for the other person. Yeah. So I guess, you know, and wondering about what is existentially. I think about friendship and mentorship, and I think about you, Richard, and I think about the many years you've been doing this through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, teens. Yeah, this is 60 years you've been doing this, right?
I guess I hadn't really reflected on it.
Yeah. Nice of me to point out, right? But you know, there was that wonderful movie that I don't, you know, the message, the spirit of it was so wonderful. Mr. Holland's Opus. You know, I wonder about that in relation to you.
Yeah, I've refreshed my memory on the plot.
The plot is sort of like this music teacher who does a wonderful teacher, and at the end, it all returns to him in a kind of like recognition of his impact on so many different lives. I wonder how you might reflect upon the impact that you've had on so many people. You may not, because there's an element of humility in you that you may tend to diminish your impact. It is not a small thing you've done here in the world. And it's not over yet. I mean, I don't mean to, but like, yeah, for me alone, I mean, and the unraveling religion has been really an important part of my life, a steadfast staple of something that I don't have to turn to regularly, but I may take time off either for whatever reasons and then return to it, and it's always there. And I can build and grow on it. It's something nobody can take away from me.
So when I first suggested the idea of you doing your own show,
Yeah,
at first you were like, no, why would I do that?
right.
Because it was outside your identity.
Right, it was the ship coming at me and I was on land.
Yeah. There's nothing there.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And, but then as time went on, you somehow allowed the idea to infiltrate into your life.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I'd always been curious about spirituality, but it's really deepened by spirituality. It's opened me to some amazing teachers, you know.
Well, that last, I guess you had the Irish guy.
Padraig O'Tuma, yeah.
That was great.
He's a poet and theologian. Yeah.
He mentioned he did a podcast where he read the poem, he interpreted it, and he read it again.
Yeah.
I went and listened.
You did,
Yeah, to his podcast.
So he has a podcast, but you know Krista Tippett's On Being. Do you know Krista Tippett's On Being? About her tagline is, about the big questions of existence.
So there's this person named Krista Tippett.
Yeah, she has a podcast for many years.
I'll
Her
write that
initial
down.
her initial podcast was Speaking of Faith, and then maybe I don't know if it was 20 years ago, give or take, she developed On Being, which just the heavy hitters of poets and artists and thinkers and philosophers, the heavy hitters.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, and then a subsection of On Being is Poetry Unbound, which for many years Padre Kotuma has hosted.
Oh, I see.
So
That's the connection.
that's the connection, is that he's hosted Poetry Unbound. But there was this one talk given by this father. I can't remember his name. But he
Father, like a priest or
like a priest,
okay.
yeah. But in L.A., he had worked with gangs, and I think this one podcast he had done had like 20 million listens. It was just a very well listened.
Is it part of On Being?
Yeah, it's actually an extraordinary. It's such an extraordinary. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Yeah, on being a gang father and Father Greg Boyle, who founded Homeboy Industries, which employed, I don't know if it's, I hope to God it's still going. Homeboy Industries would employ individuals who were previously in gangs or struggling to leave gangs he would give them work and family, like he was a father to them, and like he would mentor them, and so he did this one talk that was so astonishing. Let's see. Sorry. Here it is, yeah. So I don't know. He just did another one in 2019, The Calling of Delight, Gangs, Service, and Kinship, family. And this guy is like, what a heart, and just is built to do this and does it very well. He's a great example of what I would imagine a true Christian to be. Yeah. But another example of a mentor, in the same way you provide mentorship, he's providing mentorship. Very important in the world, you know. I had a talk with Chris Barbera, activist for homelessness.
He was, but he used to do the teaching that you do at Attica, didn't he, Chris?
Well, he did letter writing. So he
taught a different subject.
He did it a different way. So he, Jesus the Liberator Seminary, did letter writing correspondence and education, religious education and philosophical education with inmates.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris is amazing. And then, so I was going to say, I lost my thread.
Well, there is this author who wrote the book called In Search of the Historical Jesus.
Yeah.
And this author brought up a lot of points, like how could Jesus have been born in Bethlehem if Bethlehem archaeological evidence shows that it was founded 200 years after he was born? You know, there was no Bethlehem. So things like that, which are casting doubt that maybe Jesus is a made-up story. So I was asking people who professed Christianity, what if you discovered that the whole Jesus thing was like a made-up story to embellish the religion? Would you still be a Christian? Everybody I asked said no, except for Chris Barbera. He goes, yeah, why wouldn't I? It's the principles that matter.
Right. Yeah,
not if there's a historical figure.
He's an amazingly deep thinker and a beautiful human being.
I've always respected that.
He's a very deep thinker. But, so we had done a podcast. I had a bunch of talks, 3 talks from him that I reissued. They were archived. I edited them, reissued them, and we did a trailer. We did a trailer about these 3 reissued talks, which I released 1 month at a time. I issued the trailer in the first talk, and then the next month the second talk, and the third talk. But we spoke about mentorship, the power of mentorship, and really why is, in Judaism the preeminent emphasis is on the widow, the stranger, and the orphan. So, but the orphan is for the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who passed in 1994. Orphans were preeminent in his care, in his purview, to take care of children who did not have parents or models to teach how to relate to the world. Was the most he felt most incumbent upon himself to guide and invest his energies in supporting experiences of people who are orphans. And so, why is this? In Torah, it's taught there are 10 commandments, and so the first 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are between God and man. 6 through 10 are between in the community, how the community is to relate to one another. 1 through 5 is between God and man. 6 through 10 community. What is the one that links them? The 5th commandment bridges that, because honor thy father and mother. God has given you these parents to teach you how to relate to the world and how to relate spiritually to God. And so when you don't have a father and mother in the ways to teach you how to do that, people who are called to do that must step in and provide that sort of support for people who are in need or have the potential to step into their lives and provide that kind of mentorship. It's very transformative for people. I've been transformed. I'm well now because of good mentorship. Yours, Mage Reagan's, my father's, all these things are very vital. And so when I think about mentorship and I think about the power and importance of mentorship, I think of you, Richard. I think of Major Reagan. I think of many people who I won't name, and their positive impact on my life. And so it becomes incumbent upon me to offer that to others in the ways that I can. That's my obligation, is to give back what I've been given. The reciprocity, the currency and reciprocity. Yeah.
So I wanted to relate something to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I came across an interesting thought experiment.
What's
Well,
that?
no, it's not a thought experiment. They actually did this experiment. And let me tell you the experiment, and then how would you relate to the experiment? And it goes like this. I'm the researcher.
Sorry.
I'm the researcher. I put out a call for people. Come to my experiment, you'll get $100 for your trouble. So people would come in, and he would bring them in 2 at a time. And he'd say, got $100 here. Okay. And I want to give it away. Here's my offer. I give you 20 and I give you 80. All you have to say is you accept it, then you walk home with the 20 and you walk home with the 80. But if you say, I don't accept it, it's unfair. Now the ball is in the other person's court. And they can say, hey, if they don't accept it, I'll take the whole 100. Or they can say, I don't accept it either. And then I say, okay, so now you both get 50. What would you do if you were the first person?
Well, it's a great experiment.
Because you're banking on the other person being good also. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to do with your view of human nature, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Yeah. I don't know what I would do. It's a fascinatingly designed experiment. I don't know what I would do.
Well, the results were 60% of the people said, they both said, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Then they got to split it.
Oh, interesting. That gives me hope.
That means that there are 40% who said, hey, I'll take the whole 100.
Yeah.
I don't care what the other person does.
Yeah.
Oh, good old Mick joined us. Mick, I heard that your heart is broken still from from your last relationship. I just want to let you know I care about you. Now, there's an example of a guy, he takes me to Tops every Friday.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And he's so giving
Yeah.
that, you know, it's hard when the shopping carts get stuck together.
Yeah.
So he likes to pull it.
Yeah, yeah.
And he gives it to me, and then he sees another senior citizen. Oh, here, I'll get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the senior citizens who came up was smiling, and Mick gave him the card. And I said to the other person, I said, he likes helping people. You know what the person said? I can tell.
Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so great.
Well, we got to say goodbye to the people.
Richard, thank you so much for this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from your end?
I can't think of any.
All right. I look forward to our next time together to talk and share.
Very good.
Take care, sir.
Goodbye.
Bye. That was wonderful, Richard.
He says, yes, I have pushed myself harder and harder. I wonder what he means by that.
To give, to serve.
Oh, okay. Do you like the interaction with the people?
I do, yeah, it's fantastic.